Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video, folks. Today in this guide I'm going to show you how to tame a Giganotosaurus here on the island on Ark Survival Ascended. And before we get into it, we're going to need a couple of things. First things first, make sure that the environment you're about to build the trap in is nice and clear. Generally where Gigas spawn, it tends to be quite dangerous, so you'll need some exceptional kibble, as that is what they prefer. A Giganotosaurus saddle to ride it, and it is of course a knockout tame, so you will need a bunch of trank arrows, and I'd bring quite a few crossbows. You also need narcotic to keep it knocked out, as a torpor does drop right quick. And apart from that, you will also need a trap. Now, I have done some experimenting with various types of traps here on Ark Survival Ascended, and I'll show you what works. And of course, to craft a saddle, you will need to be level 96. You will need 350 fiber, 120 metal ingots, and 680 hide. So that is the requirements for crafting a saddle. And so what I've chosen to do here is right there behind me, there's like a little island. It's fairly flat, and that is where I'm going to build my trap. For this, we will need some metal pieces. You don't have to build it all out of metal. I will show you exactly what needs to be made out of metal. And the reason for that is that the Giganotosaurus can damage anything up to metal. So it can damage thatch, wood, and stone structures. There is a raptor at the time of making this video here, which did kind of give me anxiety, just because normally when there is a baby raptor, normally means that there's also a adult raptor, and they can pounce and dismount. So yeah, I normally always tend to be rather cautious. Now, for the purposes of this video, I did clear out the area, so there were stones, trees, and other things. So you might want to do that before we start building. So first things first, we're going to start with the triangle pieces. We'll put a triangle foundation down, something like this, for example. And next up, we will be using some either wood ceiling pieces or thatch ceiling pieces. It really doesn't make a difference. You don't need more than two, but you can bring some spare just in case. So we're going to create basically a big hexagon. So after the triangle, we'll put down two ceiling pieces. I normally like to work on both sides, so two on each side of the triangle piece. And as you can see, that baby raptor keeps wandering in, and I do try and attempt to get rid of it because it might cause problems with kiting the Giganotosaurus. So obviously, if you've got any experience with building pieces in games such as Ark and Conan Exiles, you'll know how to make a hexagon or a big circle. So basically that's what we're doing. Really, we only need the triangle pieces put down with a space of two ceilings between them. So yeah, once you've used up your I suppose ceiling pieces, pick them up and rinse and repeat until we get the full hexagon. That's pretty much it. Now, it is important that the triangle foundations are metal. They must be metal, otherwise they will be damaged by the Giganotosaurus. Once again, two ceiling pieces, one metal triangle foundation. Pick up all of the ceiling pieces. I always do like to have a quick look around the environment as I do this, just to try and reduce the chances of being caught off guard. I mean, there's always a chance of that happening. This is Ark that we are playing, so you know, surprises are in store. So that's pretty much it. We've got our last piece there. This is what it looks like. Pick up the final ceiling pieces. Next up, we are going to need some metal walls. And what we're going to do is we're going to go too high on the outer section of the triangle foundations. So basically like this. Now this should be tall enough to keep the Giganotosaurus in the trap once we have managed to kite it in. There is a bit of a change to the AI for the creatures in the game, and I will cover that when we get to that point. It is very important to note, and there is a reason we're building this in a specific way. So in case you weren't aware, creatures have been given the ability to pathfind in Ark Survival Ascended, which wasn't a thing in Ark Survival Evolved, which does complicate the situation a tad bit. Now, the old dinosaur gateway trap might still work, although with the pathfinding mechanic, it could be a bit more fiddly. This is what I like to call a pitfall trap, so it keeps it relatively safe for the player. Next up, we're going to go with the inclined roof pieces, so we'll go and put one on each side. What I've done here is make a choice as to where you're going to kite the Giganotosaurus from. I like to cover half of the trap just for good measure, because the Giganotosaurus does have a very wide turning radius. Then we'll go onto the triangle pieces right here, as you can see, and just place them as you see me do here. What we're doing here is we're creating a ramp up into the trap itself. We're trying to be economical here, and you can use either stone or wood structures for this. I would recommend stone over wood if you have a choice. So the idea is that we're trying to create a ramp for the Giganotosaurus to go up and into the trap. If the AI of the dino feels like it's snagged even a little, then the pathfinding part will take effect, and it'll turn around and try and find another route. So we want it to be as fluent as possible. Also, with a change in AI, dinosaurs don't really like to drop off edges, so we need to convince it by floating in the center of the trap. It does mean you might potentially get hit, but if you're quick, you might be able to kind of dodge it. But this is what it'll look like. So I've chosen half of the trap as a way of getting the Giganotosaurus in. So as you can see right here, I have managed to kite the Giga to the trap. It may take several attempts, so just be patient with this. As you can see, it does want to go around, so basically I'm using the trap as an obstacle between me and the Giga. And what I do is I fly around the trap until it's nicely wedged in there. Once the Giga is in the center of the trap, there is no way for it to come back out, and it's safe and secure. I do like to test it as well, just because things might happen that we don't expect, but normally this works quite well. Now, because of the area that I'm in, and this is completely optional, what I like to do is I like to build a little perch to start tranking the Giga off of. If you've done this before, if you've tamed the Giga, you know that it will take a lot of time, a lot of arrows, and quite a few crossbows to do this, or long necks, depending on what you're using. So what I like to do is I like to put down a foundation, put quite a few walls up so that we're kind of high enough so that we're out of reach of anything else that might potentially want to come and nibble on us and interrupt us. With the Gigas, if you stop the tranking, their torpor will decrease right quick, so you don't want to be interrupted until it's down. So up at the top, we'll go with 4 foundations. It'll be a 2x2. That'll be enough for the Argent to land, and from there we can start tranking it out. So as you can see, I've landed on my little perch. I did make a mistake here, but it's fine. We'll just work with what we've done. I've had to improvise with a thatch ceiling, but it is what it is, and from now on, we just have fun knocking it out. And of course, try and not get scared by your own tame. That's the thing. Yeah, so as you can see, it's just going to run around and not do much. Eventually, with patience and determination and a lot of resources, you will knock it out. Before you do anything and get anything or anywhere close to the Giganotosaurus, my recommendation is make sure the area is safe and clear of any other predators or dinos that might want to attack you. Now, naturally speaking, a wild Giga has no enemies, therefore it will not be attacked by any other creature. However, there will be creatures that might potentially want to aggro onto you whilst you're trying to do stuff in the Giga's inventory. And in them biting you, they might end up hitting the Giganotosaurus, which will of course affect the taming effectiveness. And if you want a high level Giga, then that's not really fun, is it? So just clear the area before you start taming it. The best way to do this is to starve it out. Do keep an eye on its torpor. Have a look at how quickly the torpidity is going down once the effect of the trank arrows have worn off. So it does go down right quick. So make sure you've got plenty of narcotic with you. On my server though, the settings are set in such a way that it does tame pretty darn quick. But on official servers, you might be here for a while. So bring plenty of narcotics and be patient. And always check your area because things will have respawned. So you want to make sure that nothing hits the Giga. I probably would stay away from it unless you're checking the torpidity or feeding it narcotic. So that's pretty much it for taming the Giga. Hopefully this is useful. If you have found it useful, please don't forget to hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. And of course, as always, until next time, stay safe, folks.